Alright guys, so I've got something new here I wanted to share. I've been waiting a while to share this, and you may have seen, if you saw the video last week, I alluded to what was coming, and that is the Vuarnet Visor, but with their version of a prescription visor lens. So let's take a look at kind of what that looks like, how it works, and we'll do a quick little review of these two, because I do not believe I have done the 2011, so let's get into it. First of all, if you're new here, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. If you're not, you already know the drill, and we will enjoy going through and talking about these guys. The short version is Vuarnet has released a new way to make a prescription lens in this full shield visor. One thing I like about theirs right off the bat, and you can see this from this angle, it doesn't really look like it's got a prescription lens going on. There's no seams, there's no, I think Ray-Ban and Oakley did for a while where you actually mill out the lens and insert another lens. And we got some material early on in between the time I ordered this and the time it actually released that made it look like that's what they were doing. Fortunately, that is not the case, so Vuarnet did say this was the first in the world of implementing it in this method. I'm still not 100% sold on that being true, but that's a story for another time. Now, what it amounts to and what they've done, and I'll show you some actual different views of how this works, is they essentially have an RX block inside the lens, and that's where your prescription is. Everything outside of that's just the flat 9-base curve like you would have in any off-the-shelf pair of wrap visor sunglasses. It's a way to do it, okay? I'll leave it at that. The Oakley we had recently done by Sport Optical, and I'll link a card up to that video, that was last week, is a very different way of doing it. They've got the whole lens all the way across. The one we had was a prototype, so it's not perfect, but it was still incredible. The optics were beautiful. It was nice and crisp, edge to edge. There was no weird distortions, no prism effect of like stepping upstairs as you're walking in them. I say those things specifically because they are things I noticed in the Vuarnet version. Yeah, so this has been interesting. I will say I've had these less than 24 hours. In fact, I opened the box at 2 o'clock yesterday, recording this video at 11:45, so almost 24 hours. I've worn these things more than I care to admit for a new pair of sunglasses, not because I have been particularly enjoying it, but because immediately when I put these on, I had a feeling that was kind of sicky, off balance, and it was not good. I put these on, I was like, I can't wear this, and that is not something I should be saying in particular. As you guys may have guessed, I'm a little meticulous when it comes to fitting, making, and designing my own lenses, as well as anybody else's I work on. The overall cosmetics of this, though, is really, really nice. Again, as far as the shield and the prescription layer goes, you can't really tell it's there. It is just a part of the lens design, and yeah, it really, it blends well being all done on the back side of the lens. The way that comes across, I'm not sure whether it's an anomaly with my prescription. They are looking into that. I will let you know if that ends up being the case, but what I do want to take away from this is I can put these on and the vision is okay, all right? I can function, I can work, I can use my cell phone, and that's probably about the end of it for me. I did find, oddly enough, as you guys know, I do like sports cars. I have a ZL1, the windshield on that, it ain't big, okay? But it's an expansive panoramic view. It's nice for looking out, track focused. You can see straight ahead, you can see over here, curves, all that stuff coming up. Behind you, don't worry about it. We don't care about that. It's fast enough, okay? Speaking of bad reviews, don't worry about the vision out of the back of your Camaro. Oh, Lord. But in that car, sitting in the car, wearing these sunglasses, It's perfect. So all of the stuff down here, all the stuff up here, it doesn't matter. It's all black headliner and black dash and things I don't care about. I can see everything I need on the heads-up display and on the dash, and I can see off at a distance, and most importantly, I can still get that nice panoramic effect. And that's one thing that's good in these. You know, the vision is crisp from, okay, it's not really panoramic, it's from about there and to there. And on this guy, well, it fills faster that way, mostly because of my finger. There we go, so there. But what I did find out in the real world, the real field was actually more along these, yeah, right there it is. That's about what works. And my prescription is nothing crazy. I'll tell you that right off the bat. I am roughly a -2, a little bit of cylinder. As far as the, you know, the optics, it's weird, okay? The way they do this, you have that lens that is placed on a carrier and then surfaced to your prescription. They do a freeform algorithm to determine what your power should be across the rest of the lens, and in theory, that gets you a nice, crisp, sharp field of view across most of the lens. In the real world, in this one, I'm not seeing it, honestly. It's the top, there's a lot of prismatic effect, there's a lot of distortion above and below in the lenses. As I mentioned, the very first time I put these on, it's about 6. I knew it wasn't gonna work. Now, having worn them for 8 of the last 24 hours, I don't put them on and immediately feel sick. Now, with my prescription and as many different pairs of glasses as I have, you can imagine that is not something I should notice in a pair of glasses. And if I was spending $1,000 on a pair of prescription sunglasses, I wouldn't expect to feel it either. The way they do this, that's going to come with it. So just know going in, if you do decide you want one of these for cosmetics, whatever, for sports purposes, I probably wouldn't do it. I'll say that right now. If you like the look of a visor and you want that in your prescription to be able to put it on, throw it on, party away the night, whatever floats your boat, and by all means do so if you have $1,000 to burn. I won't do it again. I didn't know what I was getting. The short version of that is, because the way this carrier is made and the way the prescription is surfaced onto it, you do get some prismatic effect that shifts the image from the top and the bottom. The way that's experienced is you people that have worn progressives know exactly what I'm talking about, except it gives me no extra function in doing so. There is no advantage to having that there, except for I can't see anything from below right here in the lens, and it's inducing extra prism moving things so I can't see my feet. And I was absolutely walking around like a person wearing their first 2 at or above progressive lens for the first little while. They claim progressive is coming in this. Good luck to you guys if you order this in a progressive. That's all I have to say about that. So now another thing I did notice on these, and this is one I wanted to point out, and I'll throw a photo up here because you're definitely not going to see it on camera, but I noticed right off there was some, I can't tell if it's excess flashing in the mold on this particular piece or if it was actually damage caused when they were changing out the inserts. Now, typically Vuarnet does run a separate line for their prescription stuff versus their regular stuff, so such that even when we order a different lens that's not available in a certain color chassis, it still runs down through the prescription program, increasing the cost because it's just more expensive to do it. It's not part of the regular production run. So I don't think these were leaving with the standard shield in place, that removed, and then another put in. Now, there is a possibility, I believe I was told mine did not pass its initial inspection and was remade, and how in the hell this passed the final inspection? How in the hell this got to production? That's another matter. We're not gonna get into that today, but whoever put this on and went, this is a great idea, we need to scale this up and sell it to everybody, I want to slap that person. But it looks cool, right? Yeah. it looks cool and it has prescription lenses in it. And that's pretty much all I have to say to that. And I'm done wearing that so I can actually see and feel comfortable in my glasses again. Now, one thing you will notice on these, and you probably see it as soon as I turn it around or in any of the pans in the video, this does not have a backside anti-reflective coating. You guys that are sunglasses snobs will know exactly what I'm talking about. This is very important. It cuts down on reflections on the back of the lens such that you're walking around town and the sun behind you is not glaring off the back of your lens right there, and if you're in a darker environment, you're not seeing your eyeball, which is not fun. Nobody likes that. But because of the steep wrap, and I don't know if you noticed in any of the other stuff, it fits up really good around the face. Even here, there's not, I can't really get a finger up in there. So it's fitting really close against the face, which means it's sealed off against the back. So you don't have to worry about reflections off the back side of the lens because there's no light getting to the back side of the lens. Now, I did mention this was going to be somewhat of a review of the 2011, and it would be remiss to not pay attention to you Plano guys that aren't ordering this damn thing here that I highly advise against unless you just want the look of it. But the overall frame's really nice and lightweight. You've got good adjustable pads here. I can't fault the overall fit and design of the chassis itself. I love this coloration. Obviously, I'm a big fan of blue and bright colors in general. The neon green pops really screams to me because you guys know traditionally I wear a lot of blue and the green glasses. It was made for me. And then you've got the rubber inserts here, which they're neon green. Nobody's going to see that, but it does add a lot of extra grip on the head. Once these are on, they're really not going anywhere unless they're just absolutely crap adjusted. It's got a nice tactile feel to it, both on the bridge with those rubberized adjustable pads, by the way, so they work on a lot of different faces, and then the rubberized grip back here. It's really nice and snug on the face. Even a lot of intense sweating is not going to pull that off. I would worry a little bit about fogging with this design. We don't have any sort of venting around it. And that's actually one thing I've got to hand to the Oakley pair I had here before. It did have venting in several places along the top and the bottom. You can tell they are researching their sports designs a little bit more. I find it very interesting though, because on the Racing 1918, we have that little USB slot vent that a lot of people hate cosmetically, but understand the need and the function of it to keep the lenses from fogging when you are physically active and hot and sweaty and everything else. Why this doesn't have any sort of vent, I don't know. In fact, I think, I've got to look at that. I believe the V was milled out on the non-prescription ones. Give me a second. Okay, I checked the V, I imagined it. It's not milled out, which is really, really funny because, again, the USB slot on the 1918s, that's milled out for airflow. This just got really interesting. The V in the chassis is milled out. Someone thought this through, but the V in the lens is not. Vuarnet, if you're listening, you really missed an opportunity on that. In my opinion, airflow matters on these tight, high-fitting wrap designs to keep fogging down. That one little simple change would have made a nice difference. But hell, if you're wearing this as a prescription, you're fucked. Yeah. I'm slipping. That's what I'm doing. Plano guys, love it. Great lens, great design, really cool chassis. Prescription with their insert? No, I can think of much better sunglasses, both here and otherwise. If you're looking for a prescription visor for function, reach out to my buddies at Sports Optical and let them do their thing with the Oakleys for you, because that was optically beautiful. Wasn't even my prescription, edge to edge, great, no weird prism stuff, great. And that's all I have to say about that. And I had probably better stop on this before I start off on a path I should not go down. So, pending the dark side of that glasses guy coming out and telling you things, then I will have to call it there. Actually, I'm not, because I forgot. On the 2011, they do come with a very nice little integrated strap, and just like we see on the Glaciers, except on this one, it does not have a metal insert to protect it. Over time, that's gonna wear, and eventually this isn't gonna fit. But for the price point, I guess it gets the job done. And as you'll see, I keep goofing up on this one. The Glacier, these guys insert from the inside and lock down. On this one, it inserts from the outside and locks in. And of course, you have your nice Vuarnet branding, and I did it upside down because I'm upside down about how I feel on these after I was so incredibly excited for them to be released. But you do get that nice strap, which I am not dealing with. But there you go. The Vuarnet 2011 with prescription in, I don't even know what we're calling this at this point, with prescription in the visor. That's what we're going with, and that's what I'm going with. And I hope you have enjoyed this video, because I have not enjoyed wearing those. Let me know your thoughts on it, and if you have ever tried this or experimented around with something that you severely regretted in the end. I hope you enjoyed this, because that was not cheap. I'll catch you guys next time.